you know, have you ever been there at the moment of death? I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be there at the moment when someone dies 3 times now. And for me, it's a beautiful moment.
Wow.
I mean, it's an amazing moment. And I think, you know, if you got a heartbeat, and you're all present, what you're going to notice is they're there, and then they're not.
Mm.
They're there, and now they're not there.
Mm.
So who is the they you're talking about?
Yes.
You know, it's not
Yes.
that body. It's not the mental process or the mind. It's not the emotions. What is it? You know,
Yeah.
we call it the soul, or the essence, or the spirit, or, you know, the heart, or the atma. You know, there's names that are trying to describe it, but it's very real.
Yeah.
That's where we want to live from. That's the connection we want to make. And this, you know, so why does this other crap happen in life? It's the process of discovering who we are. It's the process of reconnecting with the soul. You know, if you look at children, they come in as pure soul. I mean, you look in your eyes. If you just quiet down and look, you know, there's something very bright there and beautiful, you know, and they're innocent, and they're, you know, and then we go through this world experience, this material human experience, and I call it going down into the density, because it's a heavier, oppressive, denser material experience. It's how God experiences God's creation. I mean, it used to be blasphemous to say, ye are gods. You are God. You know, you are God. And I am God. And there's some churches that would jump all over you for that statement. But it's not saying, you know, you are the God.
Yes.
You are the essence, who you really are. You are the essence of God. It's like this air in this little compartment here is no different from the air in the room. It contains, you know, the same as the air in the room. It's just not all of the air in the room. And so why do humans go through this experience? It's the human experience. It's as it's designed. It's, you know, it's how we go through the evolution to get back to who we are and where we started, you know, which is, you know, we are the inheritors of the wealth of the kingdom. We are, you know, I didn't ever like the religious approach, and I still don't. This is spiritual. It's different from religious. It's not, and that's not to put down the religion, because to me that's going in this direction.
It's part of the territory.
But at some point, for me, it's like, it didn't do it. I mean, the church didn't do enough for me. You know, it tried to tell me it could do it for me. And what I learned inside, you know, from the teaching I get inside is, I don't need an intermediary between me and God or the Lord or, you know, whatever name you give it. I can go directly because I am connected directly.
You mentioned earlier this inner knowing, which I'm sort of fascinated about, and I think you mentioned it in the context of meditation, which is, you know, I suppose you might say the means to the end, or that particular. Is again, what's your experience of that? And is this something that, you know, one can sort of teach someone else? I mean, is you know, I have the sense that it's not a methodology thing. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, you know. We'd all like to have. I'd like to have you know. I know it's a judgment, a sort of better inner knowing, whatever that means. I mean, it's more. And you talked earlier about which voice. You know, how do you know which? Which voice is the one, as it were?
I mean, what I'd say about that is also an answer to an earlier question you asked that I didn't finish answering. But practice. And practice what? Well, the best way I've found is, I call it spiritual exercises, but the form of meditation. Quiet and go down, go inside. And it shows up. And it's not going to show up mentally. So this is the hard, this isn't something you can really talk about, because any way you talk about it is incomplete. Or in a way you'd say a lie. It's not the whole truth, you know. But the talking about it can kind of direct. So, you know, there are methodologies and techniques that can support us and can be part of the practice, but it's not the end. It's not, you know, but it can support us toward that. You know, I've been doing this. It's my form of spiritual exercises for 32 years now, very regularly. You know, I mean, for probably the first 25 years, I don't think I missed a day, maybe 20 years, and then I miss some days now. but it's on my mind constantly. If I'm
Yeah.
walking here,
Yeah.
you know, I've gone through a series of initiations, and they're what we call tones to chant. I'm just walking down the street. Inside of me, I'm doing that.
Brilliant.
So
Yeah.
it's an intention and it's a focus,
Mm.
you know, and it's a connection. What's happened for me is the knowing, it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's brilliant, lights flashing, and sometimes it's just almost unrecognizable. It's just there. I've been doing a lot of talks for very large groups in the last 6-7 years. You know, large like 5,000 to 15,000 people.
Yeah.
And it's anywhere from 2 hours to 3 days.
Wow.
I'm working with these people.
Yeah.
And I haven't yet, and it's all with one client company, and I have not yet once done the same thing twice with them, nor have I planned anything I've done.
Fantastic.
And I walk on stage and see what shows up.
Yeah.
Now, the first time I did that, I didn't do it intentionally. I thought I was going to speak for an hour, and 30 minutes before I was to go in front of 15,000 people, which was the largest group I'd ever worked with.
Yeah.
It was inside of a basketball stadium.
Go on.
And about a half an hour before I was to go on stage, they told me, "You're here for 3 days." And I said, 3 days? I mean, what? I mean, I thought I was doing an hour, you know. And so because there was nothing planned, I had no time to plan it. It was okay, see what shows up. And it showed up probably I'd say better than had I planned it and put a lot of preparation into it. Now, in a way, I'd had put preparation, 25 years of doing the kind of work I do. But specific for that event, no. I mean, I had no outline. I had nothing except I got to do something. You know? And so it showed up, and the next thing showed up, and so I loved the experience. It was a wonderful experience of, I wouldn't say channel. It's not channeling. It's just being available and doing my part, and being present with it, and continuously being present with it as best I can. And all of a sudden, the time went by, and in fact, that event, I had something happen that has never happened with me before or since.
Yeah.
This was in Moscow, and my translator was a woman. Was a very good translator, but had never been in front of an audience that big, and that's huge energy. I mean, anybody who's done anything in front of 500 people, that's a lot of energy. 15,000 people, that's a lot of energy, and it's all focused up there on stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it isn't an ego thing; it's just energy, And so I did what I did, finished, walked off stage, and my translator passed out. And collapsed on the floor, and I'm backstage trying to assist her, and somebody get some water and blah blah. And I felt this tap on my shoulder, and somebody said, turned around and said, "What is it?" And I said, "You need to get back out there." And I said, "Not right now. I'm taking care of." I don't remember her name. Tatiana, whatever it was. And they said, "No, you need to go out. Listen." And I turned. I mean, I didn't hear what was going on out there, and I turned and listened. And there's 15,000 people chanting "Terry, Terry, Terry," an encore. I mean, in this work, encores aren't. It's just not part of it.
That's right.
It's not
part of the etiquette.
It's just not something that's been going on. So apparently they liked whatever it was. They liked it. Well, whatever it was, the way I describe it, it's not ego or personality. I mean, it's not, "Hey, look at me, look what I did." It's wow, that's amazing. That's really cool.